everyone to Charlotte Mecklenburg Library's Parent Lunch and Learn program. Today, we are so excited to have Chris Hawkins. She is the parent educator from Teen Health Connection joining our time today for an informative presentation on supporting your child's behavioral health. So I'll turn it over to you, Chris, so you can introduce yourself.
Okay, thanks, Elise. I'm always happy to be with you guys. Today we are talking about an important topic and supporting your child's behavioral health. And since it's being recorded, maybe we'll just wait for questions at the end. We can talk then. But I'm just going to give a little overview about Teen Health Connection in case you don't know. We are a comprehensive adolescent medicine and behavioral health clinic here in Charlotte. We're affiliated with Atrium Health, and we have two amazing doctors that are both adolescent medicine specialists. We only have like 400 of those in the country. And so the fact that we have two here in Charlotte is a really big deal. And we have two nurse practitioners that are seen. So, they specialize in all things teen. And then we have 11 behavioral health therapists here as well. And so, that it just makes it just such a great there's an ability for the doctors, if the patient is upset or needs to see a behavioral health therapist, they can be referred. And not that they're going to be seen that day, since we do have a waiting list, but it just makes it easy. You can see a behavioral health therapist even if you're not a patient here as well. And then I'm on the nonprofit side. We have a nonprofit program that works with teenagers, and we have the nonprofit program that works with parents. So if you have a teenager that is a rising eighth grader to a rising senior next year that would like to be part of a leadership program, please reach out. We have the Teen Advisory Board, and they it's an amazing group of volunteer youth across the county. They come from just a number of high schools, and they meet weekly. We feed them dinner, and they have an opportunity to work together on really important initiatives around teen behavioral health and also substance use prevention. So, and then for parents, I just feel real privileged to be part of this program because I came to Teen Health Connection years ago for parenting classes myself. And so I know the challenges of parenting teens. I know how much we love our teenagers, and just how important it is to have support and resources. So that's why I'm here. And so you can reach out to me always and anytime. So let's see, we'll go ahead and start. I do love this quote because I do think it's so important for us to remember. Our teenagers need our love and attention, not our judgment and assumptions. And I put that there just because when my oldest, who is now 24, was 17, that's why I came here. We were engaged in lots of power struggles. And so I think there was quite a bit of judgment on my part, and I was parenting out of fear. So, addiction, I had addiction in our family history, and I was so concerned that was going to be his story. So I was not living in the moment, and I was living in fear. And when we parent from fear, that can lead to damaging our relationship with our teen. So let's just, a lot of times people use mental health and behavioral health interchangeably, and there is a slight difference. So mental health refers to a person's psychological state. So we're talking about, anxiety issues, behavioral or emotional disorders or depression, symptoms of depression, or even being diagnosed with depression. And then behavioral health, it's not just a person's state of mind, but their physical condition as well. So, for example, you might have anxiety, extreme anxiety symptoms, of extreme anxiety, and that leads to an eating disorder. So the eating disorder would be the behavioral health issue. Or you might have OCD, an obsessive compulsive disorder, and that stems from your anxiety. You might have a substance use addiction or problem, and that might stem from depression. So a behavioral issue can stem from a mental health issue, but there is a slight difference there. And the most common mental health issues in children 3 to 17 years old are, starting with ADHD, 9.8%, 9.4% have anxiety, 8.9% behavioral problems, and 4.4% depression. We have a little quiz here, and so we can go through some of the questions and I'll answer them. But what are some common signs of anxiety in children and teens? So we've got choices: irritability and restlessness, difficulty concentrating, withdrawal from social activities, or all of the above. Just in your mind, think what what would be the answer, and I will give you the answer is all of the above. And then we have another quick question. What are some strategies for promoting resilience in children and teens? Teach problem solving, point out and correct their mistakes, discourage labeling emotions, or all of the above. And so teaching problem solving is a good strategy for promoting resilience. When we point out and correct their mistakes, that can really damage their self-esteem, or lower their self-confidence, which we don't want to do. And we definitely never want to discourage them labeling their emotions. In fact, we want to model labeling emotions and really encourage that. Last one, I think: true or false, seeking help for mental health concerns is a sign of weakness. I'm guessing all of you guys know that that is false. It takes a lot of courage, actually, to seek help for mental health concerns. So let's talk a little bit about resilience. And resilience is the ability to cope with adversity, bouncing back, you might say. So it's obvious that we would want our children to be resilient as possible, since the more resilient they are, the better they are at managing, the difficulties that they face. And so I just consider resiliency like insulation, basically. And it can help protect our children from mental health conditions, as well as offset factors that increase the risk of mental health conditions. So when we're thinking of things that might be risk factors, things that might increase mental health conditions, that would be things like born in extreme poverty, lack of resources around them, a parent, the death of a parent at a really young age, parents divorcing, just things that you can think of that would be that would pose difficulty or trauma. So we know that it is important for children to be resilient. Now let's talk about how to build resilience in children and teens. So here are 5 evidence-based ways to nurture our children's resilience. One, we want to aim for warm, non-judgmental connections. So we want to think in terms of being empathetic, non-judgmental, if we can. We're talking ideally here, we're all human, right? If we can, be open-minded and make space for them to just be honest and share what's on their mind, and be honest with how they're doing. Sometimes parents, we want our children to be doing okay, and so they are able to read that from us, or they're able to see that that's really important for us. And so if there's an unhealthy relationship there, our child, in their attempt to protect us, which is, the wrong situation, but in their attempt to protect us, they might, you know we might not be taking care of them, and the reverse might be happening. So we want to be sure to help them identify and name their emotions, as we were talking before. Explore what brings, their feelings up, the situations that make them emotional, and then help them connect those feelings to specific coping skills. Two, helping them practice skills for coping and emotional regulation. So we want to encourage problem solving for big and small issues. We want to explain how they can tackle problems in their life and see if they can brainstorm solutions for theirs. So we want to be modeling how we handle problems, right? We want to nurture calming skills, with, helping them to self-soothe. And so one of those things, a very self-soothing activity, and a very easy one to remember, is just deep breathing. So you guys, taking slow, deep breaths together, or, just thinking of some other things. If they love a pet, if they've got a special pet, snuggling with their pet, that might bring them comfort or calm. Also thinking about gratitude. If we can change our perspective, sometimes it's hard to do in the heat of the moment, but if we can change our perspective when we are, feeling stressed or feeling like we're in a difficult situation, if we can always think there is something to be thankful for or grateful for, it just might shift a bit. Let's see. So just shifting their attention to the here and now, really, and that is being mindful. So rather than worrying about the past, or being fearful about the future, if we can just practice mindfulness and help them to do the same, that can reduce the intensity and the discomfort of negative thoughts and feelings, which is what we're really trying to promote there. Three, try to encourage healthy thinking patterns. So if we can help our children to accept uncertainty, instead of fighting it. So I don't know if you've heard of Eckhart Tolle, but he's been on the Super Soul Sundays with Oprah. But he is all about, I think his is what you fight, you make stronger. Or maybe he's the one that says what you resist persists. So either one of those little things that you can remember, those things just seem to be true. And so when we recognize, when we're fighting something, and I think in terms of fighting, that would mean being in fear. If we are in fear of something happening, we're in worry of that, and we are fighting it. Our body is in fight, flight, freeze. That's what happens when we're in fear. So if we can recognize that, and instead just take a deep breath and say, this, but I do accept it. So if we can focus on what we can control, that can help us to move forward. And it really can be a huge lesson, for our children too. Let's see. Make meaning together and find reasons for hope. So this can really, nurture our child's resilience. So reflect on your family values and try to draw strength and inspiration from them. So just think about what your priorities are. Do you prioritize having courage or giving back, or spending quality family time together? Think about what's important to your family, and then, really, um, nurture that and make that an important part of, what what you and your child, do together, and participate in activities that connect your family, um, and also connect you to the community around you. So maybe if it's, something cultural and a tradition that you do together, or maybe your religious community, these things can really, um, not just build, resilience within, your family, but also within the community. And, that's just beneficial all the way around. And then 5, try to model healthy coping habits. So, um, in hard times, kids do look to us for cues on how to manage things. So when we can use coping skills, positive coping skills, um, then we not only attend to our own needs, but we encourage our children to try these skills out too. So prioritizing our health by trying to get enough sleep, or eating a healthy-ish diet, and finding ways to stay active. So, because exercise and being active can also, release those positive, release endorphins and dopamine within our system, and also decrease those stress hormones, cortisol, and so can really be physiologically beneficial to us that way. Let's see. So the common thread through those 5 things we were just talking about, healthy relationships. So the better our relationships are, um, the better we are at building resilience. So, and then the more positive the outcomes are for our children and teens. So, the relationships children and teens have with others who care about them have been linked to mental, social, and emotional well-being. So, what traits, make a relationship healthy? Here we go with just, another quiz. Look at this question: match the behavior with its corresponding trait. So, think about these traits: kindness, adaptability, compromise, and boundaries. All of those are, relationship positive relationship traits, and ones that we would want to nurture in our children. So, so then these are just some, examples of that being, present in our own lives. Say, you've been stressed over work, and your partner gets you a gift certificate for a massage. That would be kind. You have surgery, so your partner adjusts their work schedule to pick you up after work. That's adaptability. It's movie night, you want to see a drama, your husband wants to see or your partner wants to see a comedy, and you compromise on a dramedy. So, or then your 16-year-old has provisional license but wants to drive after 9, but you lovingly and firmly say no. And that is just, that's having appropriate boundaries, right? And so there we're thinking about, authoritative parenting strategies that are, really important. So we're not being a dictator, we're not being, militant and forceful, and, we are being firm, but a militant person is not so loving. And then a permissive parent might be, very loving, but not able to hold those boundaries. And they might let their child drive after 9. So just think about, in terms of your parenting, how you're supporting that healthy relationship. And so being, we are helping our children when we can have healthy boundaries ourselves. And I don't know about you guys, but it took me a long time. I was a people pleaser my entire life, and finally in my 30s I realized that it was my responsibility to take care of myself and hold appropriate boundaries, right? People will ask you for anything, they will ask you to overcommit. But we have to be the ones that take care of ourselves. And then in turn, when we do that, we are, protecting our children as well. So we don't just give in to our teens and let them do anything they want, or our children. Let's see. These are once again matching the relationship traits. Let's just talk about the relationship traits here. Safety, well, patience and understanding, safety, affection, collaboration. These are just some other examples of the healthy relationship traits. Let's see. I think we've got some other, we'll just move on though to this. You will get this PowerPoint in PDF format. So you'll have that and you'll be able to review it. You'll also get any links that I have to videos that come up in the presentation. So let's talk about traits of healthy relationships. Well, safety is basic. So you want your child or teen to feel safe in their home. When they walk out of your home, it is, it's kind of a free for all, really. We can't know what's going to go on for them at school. We can't expect to know everything that's going to go on for them in the day, or even for us. But what we can do is ensure that home can be a safe haven for them, and they know what to expect when they're at home. Instead of, like, say, they're at home and they hear dad get home and they think, oh, how did he slam the door tonight? Do I have to worry that he's, off the edge, or so those kinds of things. A child shouldn't feel like your love is conditional. So we definitely want to be able to show unconditional love. When we say, when we give them the idea that I'll love you if, need to feel respected. They need to know that their opinion, their feelings, and matter, and that they have rights. And often, well, with my generation at least, I'm not sure, how you go, where you guys line up there, but my parents would call respect not talking back, let's just say. Well, my dad was the adult child of an alcoholic, and he was a rageaholic. So believe me, I did not talk back, right? But I was not talking back out of fear, not out of respect. So just to say, there is definitely, you can't respect something that you fear. So if, just recognizing that, if our children fear us, then they don't necessarily respect us. But as they become teenagers, what we really need for them to feel is respect, because the most important thing with relationships with our teenagers is that they feel a strong connection to us. If they don't, we are not going to be privy to really important information. And so we want them to share when they feel threatened, or when somebody asks them to do weed or alcohol or anything. We want that information to be information they share with us. And if we haven't created that trust and respect within our relationship, then what we're doing is setting ourselves up for distance with between us and our teen, and that can lead to problems down the line. Trust, like I said, is important. And that refers to a confident belief in each other's reliability and emotional trustworthiness. Truthfulness, that teaches important life lessons. Our children can really appreciate when we can admit we're wrong. It shows our children and our teenagers that it's important to take responsibility, and sends them the message that it is okay to make mistakes and that no one is perfect. So actually, it's really important for us to make mistakes and apologize. Let's see, collaboration and compromise, that's really important, healthy or trait of a healthy relationship. When we are willing to collaborate and compromise with our teen, we are showing them that we trust them, and that really strengthens their self-confidence, which is definitely what we want to do. When our teens are self-confident, they are more likely to say no to risky behavior. They are more likely to, oddly enough, interestingly enough, be academically successful, have higher self-esteem, and actually they are more likely to, or less likely to have, significant mental health issues. Good communication is important in developing that positive relationship, helping our teen to feel more connected to us. And think about when we react to our child's emotional outbursts with our own emotional outbursts. When we react, we are giving up our power. When we yell or scream back at our child, which I'm going to be honest and just admit to you that when I was engaging in power struggles and parenting out of fear with my oldest, I was relinquishing my control to him, and he was pushing my buttons, and he knew it. So by losing control, I wasn't helping myself or him. Acceptance, and that's about being flexible, tolerant, and open-minded. And it's also about knowing how to compromise and understand that we all make mistakes. Acceptance makes a teen feel more connected and secure in the relationship. And all of these are really related if we can, just, I think sometimes it might sound repetitive as I'm going through these, but they're really all connected in obvious ways, but they're all important. In relationships, flexibility means adjusting to and accommodating each other. When there's flexibility in our relationships, especially with our teen, they feel supported and respected. So here are some contributing factors to teen mental health difficulties. And so the research indicates that healthy relationships positively impact an individual's mental health from adolescence into adulthood. And teen mental health difficulties can arise from a combination of contributing factors. So this issue is definitely a complex one, but here are some common contributing factors to teen mental health difficulties. So let's think about biological factors. And that would be things like genetics, family history of mental health disorders that can increase the risk for teens. Or brain chemistry imbalances, those that can affect mood and behavior. And then environmental factors, let's see, like dysfunctional family relationships or conflicts can contribute to mental health issues. Peer pressure, that's an environmental factor, and can definitely contribute to mental health issues. Relationship difficulties in general, teen relationships, whether they're friendships or romantic relationships, are often weighed down by stressors that can either produce or aggravate adverse mental health symptoms. So, just due to their nature, teen relationships are ever changing. And since they have, um, a lack of adequate coping skills just because of their where they are in their brain development and all, they don't have maybe the emotional capacity to deal with some of these issues and regulate their emotions. So it can result in symptoms of teen depression or anxiety. Psychological factors, that would be things like trauma, um, experiencing trauma as a child, abuse, or significant life events can contribute to mental health difficulties. And low self-esteem would be considered a psychological factor. Poor self-image and lack of self-confidence can contribute to emotional challenges. Social and cultural factors. So socioeconomic status, a limited access to resources, or economic instability, poverty can contribute to mental health issues. Cultural expectations and or societal expectations can influence how teens perceive themselves and cope with challenges. Life transitions, like puberty, hormonal changes during adolescence can impact mood and emotional well-being, or transition to any transition, elementary school to middle, when they're teenagers, or middle to high school to college, transition to adulthood. The uncertainty and challenges associated with these transitions can be stressful. Technology and social media bring about their own contributing factors. So social media, of course, can be a blessing and a curse. In recent years, there's been growing concern about social media's effects on teens' developing brains. And research indicates there is a strong link between heavy social media use and teen mental health issues like body image, issues. Um, Online social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat can inadvertently put undue pressure on teens by putting forth unattainable body images or status symbols and other successes that are attainable by only, a select few. Those influencers, those social media influencers. But I do want to remind us that, when I was growing up, still I had those unrealistic, magazines were, something that you looked at and it was just always in your face in that way, or TV, so this isn't something that's new. It's just another media factor that has come up that has maybe allowed for more intense, um, in your face things. Social media has sort of it's in our face, and it's always accessible to us, but it definitely isn't anything new. Cyberbullying can affect mental health. Excessive screen time in general can impact sleep patterns, and sleep can or problematic sleep can contribute to stress. High expectations. Teens today are under significantly higher pressure to perform academically, to perform, athletically. So, thinking about all the demands on them, pressure to excel and fear of failure, those can contribute to anxiety and stress. And then substance use can be both a cause and a result of mental health issues. LGBTQ plus identity, unfortunately, they're bullied more, and just, have reason to struggle with just mental health issues because as a society, they don't feel supported and like they have resources and it's just so unfortunate that that is something that we need to all think about just, as a community, supporting everyone. Stigma and discrimination, is a real thing. Access to mental health services, they may not, have. Um, let's see, underdeveloped coping skills. Many teens haven't, developed the necessary coping skills to effectively handle the triggering events and unpleasant situations. So we need to just remember that and be mindful of that. Let's see. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon for the mental health symptoms that arise from some of the factors we mentioned to be written off as ordinary or everyday mood swings attributable to adolescent development. But it's essential to look deeper into the cause of the behavior or emotional change a teen may be experiencing to determine if their symptoms could be indicative of something more profound. If you're concerned about a teen, that might be showing some altered behavior or emotional symptoms, and you're worried that a deeper mental health condition may be to blame, then, seeking professional's opinion is, it's always encouraged. Healthy relationships are key. Good parent-adolescent relationships have been linked to mental, social, and emotional well-being in youth. Not only that, but teens that have a good relationship with their parents or caregivers, or who have at least one loving adult in their life that they can count on, tend to have better grades. They're less likely to be suspended and less likely to engage in at-risk behavior. So, what traits make a relationship healthy? Let's think about things like positive communication, reciprocal emotional support, respect and trust. These are all elements of a healthy relationship. And when we think of a child's life, think about, there's many spheres that to a child's life, but relationships and connection are at the center of the behavioral health of children and teens, and everything else that impacts their growth and development revolve around the quality of those relationships and connections. So the quality of those relationships, how connected they feel, impacts every other sphere. It's through connection that we thrive and flourish. And the younger a child is, the more their relationships revolve around the family. Things that strengthen the family sphere for children would be safe, stable, nurturing relationships and home environments. As children get older, friendships become more and more important. So when we look at the other spheres like friendship, home life, school, extracurricular activities, health and well-being, it's easy to see how the quality of our relationships impact the quality of all the other spheres of a person's life as well. If you have healthy relationships, then your friendships will, nurture you even more. If you have healthy relationships, then you are more likely to participate in positive after school or extracurricular activities, and which would mean that then your health and well-being would be impacted positively. So all those things. We're going to move on from there. Let's see. When we have a bigger crowd, we do these questions, and that's great, but it's okay if we don't. So I do always like to mention the brain development and the difference between adolescent and adult brain development, or adolescent brain development and the adult brain. So executive functioning skills enable us to control impulses, make plans, stay focused, and see things from other people's perspectives. So we aren't born with these skills, but experts tell us that the part of our brain that allows us to do these things well, the prefrontal cortex, isn't fully developed till the mid 20s. And then some experts would argue closer to 30 for boys. And having two boys myself, one 24 and one 19, I would say that I would agree. So the average teen is processing information through their emotional brain. So think of the emotional brain being our fight, fright, flee, our fight, fright, free, fright, flight, freeze brain. They've added some things onto that: fight, flight, freeze, and I think I'm not going to be able to remember it, but they've added one more. They keep adding things to this, but our teens are processing information through the emotional brain almost exclusively. They are able to be directed to the prefrontal cortex, so guided there, and to be able to process information thoughtfully. And but when they're in conflict or they are in problem solving mode, they are not able to do that. So they are definitely in their emotional brain. And so that means they are very reactive and even more impulsive. So just knowing that there is a reason for their impulsivity and their reactivity, right? Stay with me here. So when adults are under stress, and parenting teens or parenting children in general is stressful, right? Well, our prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, is blocked as well. And we don't have access to those executive functioning skills. So in other words, we become like the average teenager. I really point this out to drive home that we as parents are ultimately responsible for the integrity of the relationship with our child, with our teenager. And that our teen is literally unable to access their thinking brain during conflict. It might be a challenge for us to access our thinking brain when we are under stress. It is blocked, but we are the ones that are responsible for accessing it, right? So then that means we can't wish it away. We have to find ways to help us bring ourselves back. So like I said to you before, my dad was a rageaholic. His dad, he was the child of an adult. He was the adult child of an alcoholic. So he did not drink, but he was the rageaholic. And so what I saw growing up was a reactive parent. And, I was very fearful. And then, so as an adult, I am triggered by emotions, any emotional response or any emotional event triggers me. And my brain goes into reactive mode. And so I realized early on that I was not going to wish myself out of that, and I was going to have to do something about it. So I started meditating, and I have been meditating for about 20 years, and I can honestly say it really does make a difference. Actually, the research indicates that 5 minutes of mindful meditation a day, doing nothing fancy. We don't have to wear anything special. It's really just focusing on our breathing or some other meditation technique can thicken our prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, and shrink our amygdala, our emotional brain. So research really does prove that it really can help us. I am going to also send you guys a link to a 30-day guest pass to the meditation app that I use, which is 10% Happier. Dan Harris wrote the book 10% Happier, and he now has a meditation app, and it's a great one. So take advantage and use that 30-day guest pass. Here are supporting the mental health of our teen. Here are some suggestions, 5 suggestions to do that. Encourage physical self-care. Talk with our teen about healthy habits, such as exercise, diet, and nutrition, and how they're related. Several studies, including one published in the American Journal of Public Health, show the positive effects of a healthy diet and regular exercise have on mental well-being. Fostering mental and emotional care. Let's see, journaling can be helpful here, and you can, if you are a journaler and it has impacted you, you can share that with your teen. Creating art or music, or finding a hobby that they love. Maybe they love to cook. That can really be a self-care thing, and can bring them inner peace and joy. So just thinking of different ways to tap into their ability to take care of themselves. Discussing social media usage. This is an important one. And I think also, pointing out to them that people don't show normal life events on social media. That argument, that we had, Saturday with our family. I actually did have it. My sister was down and with my nephew, who is like 21, and then me and my boys, we were going out to lunch together, and something very minor caused this explosion, because my 24-year-old has, this ability to just sort of not emotionally regulate. So it was this big, outburst, and recognizing that if we can just in the moment sort of bring ourselves back to where our feet are, keep ourselves where our feet are, we can really sort of lessen those outbursts. And oh yeah, and also then I was saying, so sorry for losing my train of thought, but with the what is it, the fear of missing out. Often our teens, that really is a thing with our teenagers. They do, their technology is an extension of them. If people are posting that they're at a party and the teen's missing out, they might really be affected by that. But really having discussions with them to let them know, they think everyone's at the party besides them, and reminding them that that is actually not the issue, right? Teach them healthy boundaries. Once again, we have to have healthy boundaries before our teens, before they can have healthy boundaries. But it's something that we can, really promoting those healthy boundaries is important for healthy relationships all around. And then just talking openly about mental health, lessening that stigma all the way around, is helpful for them individually, but just us, as a society. And then supporting the behavioral health, listening and respecting their feelings, nurturing their self-esteem by treating them with respect. I love this one, empowering our teen with a spiritual wellness practice. And this can be secular. We can, talk to our teenager about how hiking is a spiritual practice for us. That's how we feed the spiritual part within us, and they, and encourage them to find what feeds that within them. But that can be really healthy, and a healthy exercise for families to do together. Help children develop strong, healthy relationships, once again, by modeling relationships, even with our friends and, our partners, uh, even people in stores, how we respect, the people that check us out, or, that is showing our teens how to um, how staying calm, or how being calm, maybe in stressful situations, can help everyone. And make sure our teen considers their home safe. I keep saying that. Allow our teen to solve their own problems. That's important. I think sometimes, we have this mindset, oh, we want to protect them, we want to help them. We don't, they shouldn't, we don't want them to worry, or, feel pain. Healthier parents may be thinking, no, I don't think that. But I think there was a time when I really felt like, oh, that's my job to protect them from hurting, right? But really, growth comes from um, painful situations. So, it's really not a bad thing. It's important for them to um, go through, painful or difficult situations and come out on the other side. It really can build their confidence, and then model self-love as well as love for others. And I think that's a really important one, especially a lot of times parents take care of others, and maybe the more nurturing partner takes care of others within the family before they take care of themselves, and that can be a man or a woman. So, I would just encourage us to remember, put on that, that oxygen mask before we can help other people. And our children are watching us, and they see if we value ourselves, and that teaches them to value themselves. Um, the most important takeaway here is communication's the most important thing in maintaining healthy connections with our teens, and even more specific, how we communicate under stress, during conflict, or when problems arise. So I just want to remind you that, and maybe it'll help. Dr. Dan Siegel, he uses this closed fist to remind himself and remind us what the brain looks like. So he calls, when we blow our cool, he calls that flipping our lid. So he says the amygdala is our thumb. Think of the prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, as these four fingers. And so when we blow our cool, we are actually flipping our lid there. What we want to do is aim for this, staying calm and finding a way to help our teens stay calm as well. When we're calm and balanced, we're able to make better decisions. So we definitely want our children to get that idea. Let's see. So, oh, sorry, I did this training for Big Brothers Big Sisters, so I had put mindful mentoring. Think of this as mindful parenting. Um, how we make responding our more consistent approach than reacting. When problems arise, we want to be able to respond and not react. It may not be that you have trouble. Maybe that's not an issue for you, and I think that's amazing. That was definitely an issue for me. So, that was something that I had to think about, what was going to be my strategy for bringing myself back to calm, back to center. Think about your amygdala. So when we are reacting, we are basically in prison, in a self-created prison. So when we are able to calmly bring ourselves back to that prefrontal cortex, that thinking brain, we are free to make better choices. We don't want to be held hostage by our emotional brain, and hijacked by our emotions. I love this quote. Mindfulness gives you time, time gives you choices. Choices skillfully made lead to freedom. You don't have to be swept away by your feelings. You can respond with wisdom and kindness rather than habit and reactivity. And wow, what a message we're sending to our children when we can do that. Um, Here is a suggestion for helping yourself be calm, bring yourself back to center. In stressful situations, when we're easily triggered, it's hard to be the best version of ourselves. Um, you can expect that your child will definitely find those triggers that make you want to react. So, understanding your parenting triggers and dealing with the emotions underneath can help you problem solve instead of losing it on your child. So a trigger is anything you experience in the present moment that activates a feeling from the past. And a trigger often activates an old wound from our childhood, like not feeling heard or not feeling respected. So these old visceral feelings from the past can affect our mood and make us irritable and resentful and stop us from connecting with our children, because when they trigger these angry feelings, we see them as the enemy. Um, and your teen can even remind you of someone in your life that you have a difficult relationship with, maybe like your mother, father, or a sibling. But the most common trigger is that they remind you of yourself, the very things that you don't like about yourself. So let's think of some examples. Disrespect, siblings fighting, spills, accidents. These are all stressful situations, or triggers. Um, so to try to reduce how much your triggers affect you, just start out with maybe just one and work to change your hardwired reaction in that one situation. So maybe set an intention for a week or two. You're trying to create a different set of responses in order to build new neural pathways. Because what's happening is when we're reacting, our old brain is has this very deep neural pathway to reaction. But we can train our brain. We can change our brain, and we can respond instead of reacting. There's hope there. And then this is 5 in the moment things to do, and I am really done here. Let's see. Exercise is great to reduce stress, and meditation, once again, like I said, practicing gratitude and connection. When we are stressed, if we can reach out and connect to someone that understands us, that can really, really help bring us back to center. All of those things are things we can do right away in a stressful moment. I will send you this video. It is Meditation 101, a beginner's guide, and it is actually Dan Harris does the talking on this video. So I'll send you that. And then I will also send you, this is Foursquare breathing. It is a powerful strategy to help bring us back to center. And so I will also send you this video. It's a 1-minute box breathing exercise. And I would love for you to try it, when you're alone, and to recognize how stressed you are in the beginning, and then how it actually really can, in 1 minute, you can bring yourself back, or at least to a really good start of bringing yourself back to center, just with that one thing. I'll send you the link to the 10% Happier Meditation Act and app, and I have some resources here for you. Also know that I'm always a resource if you have questions. I may not know the answer, but please know that I will be willing to always find the answer for you. I will find somebody that does know the answer. So just consider me a resource. Think about the parent pledge here. Go to our website and you have a chance to win Carowinds tickets. If you take the pledge. So go to Teen Health Connection. Teen Health, I'm trying to go too fast. Teenhealthconnection.org, and take the pledge to talk to your teen about the dangers of, substance use. Take inventory of all that in your home, secure it so they can't have access to it. Teach them to say no and model responsible behavior. If you will go to our website and go to, I think it's under maybe resources, you can click and find the pledge, and it allows you to sign it right there, and you will be put into that. Hopefully you will win Carowinds tickets. So I believe that is all. And I'm so grateful that you allowed me to be with y'all today.
Thank you so much for sharing all that information with us. That was so great.